We're going to read Romans chapter 8, verse 26. It says, "Likewise, the Spirit helps us in our weakness, for we do not know what to pray for as we ought, but the Spirit Himself intercedes for us with groanings too deep for words." It says that the Spirit helps us in our weakness. I think this is something that every Christian needs to do. We need to identify our weakness. And while this is necessary, it's also difficult because we might have misinterpreted the definition of what weakness is. For example, at a job interview, some employers will often ask you to identify your weaknesses. When asked this, your mind will automatically think about what makes you flawed. You think about things like, I am too impatient, so people don't really want to deal with me. I'm too angry, so I don't really have too many friends. I procrastinate too much, so I don't do too well in school. You see, the world has developed in a way in which we see weakness in relation to other people and myself. That is the view of the world, but we need to remember that we're Christians, so our perspective needs to be different. And let me explain why. Our goal is to live for all eternity with our Creator. So, how exactly do we accomplish that? If the answer would be, I can obtain eternal life by following the law, then our weakness would be the things that are preventing us from fulfilling that law. But we know that the answer is, I can obtain eternal life by giving my life to Jesus. So in that case, our weakness are the things that are preventing us from giving our lives to Jesus. And I'm not simply referring to baptism. I'm talking about the time that we spent with Jesus. If I were to ask you guys, do you think you spend enough time with Jesus? Meaning prayer and Bible study? Most of you might answer no. This might be because we tend to think that there is a universal magic number, a specific amount of time that we should be spending with Jesus. Well, some pastors might constantly suggest 30 minutes or maybe an hour of Bible study. I personally don't think there is a specific amount of time. I think everyone's heart and mind requires a different amount of time with Jesus. For someone like me who is a theology student, my heart and mind might require maybe an hour or two of Bible study. For others who have different career goals in mind, that number might be lower. It depends on how much your heart and mind desires to be with Jesus. And let me be very clear with something. If you are currently not spending a single minute with Jesus, then you are giving him a very, very wonderful testimony. A wonderful testimony that says, Jesus, I don't really have an interest of spending time with you right now. So, how do you think Jesus will interpret that when he does return? On the day that he comes back and he's getting ready to take everyone to paradise, and then he gets to you and he goes through the entirety of your life and he sees that you were never interested in spending time with him, what might his response be? Well, since you weren't really interested in spending time with me, I guess you won't want to spend time with me in paradise. So, see you. You see, we're called to spend time with Jesus out of love. Not because our pastors tell us to, not because the church tells us to, or our parents tell us to. So if you ever wanted to measure your love for Jesus, it's pretty simple. Don't make yourself feel better by saying, oh, I go to church every Saturday, or I give my diezmo every week, I own a Bible, I'm part of the youth department, or I am the youth director, so I must love Jesus. You measure your love for Jesus in the same way you measure your love for everyone else around you, based on the personal time that you spend with him. The keyword being personal, one-on-one time. Obviously, I hope that you guys have been keeping these meditations in mind. And I'm not saying that by watching these meditations, you're showing your love for Jesus. I'm not saying that by not watching these meditations, you're rejecting Jesus. What I'm saying is that this time needs to be used to make proper changes in our lives. And this time has made some changes in mine. 2 days ago, I had a dream with the Silver Spring small groups. Most of you guys were there. I was in the same location. I was giving you guys a study, but I was actually apologizing to you guys. I was telling you that on many Fridays, I actually didn't have the desire to be there because it was after a very long day of work, and all I wanted to do was be home and do my own studies in my room and just rest. But now that this virus has taken away my job, both my jobs, now I find myself missing that environment and missing you guys. And it was funny because you guys were actually quiet and listening, because most of the time you guys weren't. A lot of people talk in small groups. But the current reality of my life has made me change my perspective. You see, now I feel like as soon as this virus is over, I'm going to have all the desire in the world to just be in church, to sharing something with you guys, because that's what I do. So I hope in some way or another, this whole situation has been modifying your life so that we can come back stronger after this. So this is the last meditation for this week. And since it looks like we're going to continue this quarantine life, I'll continue with more meditations next week. Bye-bye.